Armani, can I get the camera on? Mr. Caden? Mr. Terrence? All right, and I know we have a couple of us missing today. So we've spent 3 weeks on what we call our final presentation, which was basically to build upon what we were doing and finish up the project we've been working on for term one. And so for 3 of you, that was kind of a video game, and for 1 of you, that was a store. And so what we're going to go do today is do the same round robin we always do, but we're also going to take the chance for each of the young professionals to talk about the difficulties of the projects, things they encountered along the way, obstacles they may have overcome, obstacles they may not have overcome, and just the stresses around a production release of software and working against an actual timeline. With that in mind, let's do real quick here. Mr. Joshua, if you can turn your camera on. Mr. Jose. Mr. Caden, if you can turn your camera back on. And Mr. Christian. And I think that covers it more or less. And Mr. Christian. All right, hey, Mr. Terrence. Okay, so we're going to start with Team 4. For Team 4, who do we have presenting?
Me, Kevin.
All right, Mr. Kevin, take it away. Show me what Team 4 is able to do.
Right. So, first of all, I want to say sorry about the sunlight. It's kind of, I can't do anything about it. I wish I had a curtain, but it is what it is. So, I just want to say that these past couple weeks have been very, very difficult for us. We have been trying our best to like push through, but we had a lot of confusion, and we've just been trying to like get over the hurdle of kind of the rest controllers and the regular controllers, and learning how Postman works. All struggles that all groups have gone through. We've also kind of overcome them, but you'll see what we have. So we finished off our regular controllers, our player rest controller, and our scene controller. They basically basically all we needed was to finish some of the like delete forms and update forms. That's all up and running. If I show you here, we don't have anything fancy for our page, but it works, which is kind of like what we were aiming towards. So here it works, and we get our values in Mongo. I just cleared this, so yeah, this is our value right here. Update stuff works. Just to show you, paste and change it to whatever. Yeah, this is all up and working. Same with our delete form, and I think it's just delete. I can spell it right. It's part one. There you go. Delete that, refresh, and it's gone. That's all working. That's all fine. And then recently we had just finished up our seniors controller. Originally we just had our players controller, but we also finished up our seniors controller, which we handle in Postman. Here is just an example of our player controller. I already have some values right here, so I can like update these values. Make instead of 100, I can just make it like 50. Send that request in, and changes it up, gives us a whole new ID. So that's all working fine. Um, that's basically what we've been kind of overcoming these past couple of weeks. I had a hard time with the player rest controller and our scene rest controller because we were just getting a really weird error for our scene rest controller, and I could not find. Me and my group could not find where that error was. So finally finding that error like felt nice. Um, it was just a very tough hurdle. I'll show you. It's still also kind of weird. I'm not sure why exactly um, this is here, but before it wouldn't let us send a request, but now it's letting us send a request, so that's nice. Um, and then to top it all off, we were working on the 2D sprite as a lot of other groups were. Um, we have some of the stuff uh, in our VS code right here. We have like the basic stuff to kind of get the sprite um, up on the screen, kind of have the JavaScript so you can control the sprite, and the HTML to like customize some of the stuff on the page. But we unfortunately couldn't come up with some of the Java code so that we could actually get it up running on like a local host or something like that. We couldn't figure out how to do that. That was also just like kind of late into this week that we started working on it. So that was a little bit unfortunate. But this is originally what we were going to have. It's in our code pen, as you can see here, kind of have a really basic beginning. But as you can see, we have a Doom guy from the game Doom, matches our name, Team Doom. You can control him, move him around. The background is, I think, a very famous arena from Dragon Ball Z, which is an anime TV show. And you can move Doom guy around the screen. Very simple stuff. We couldn't change anything much. All we really changed was the sprites. We made a Doom guy instead of like a default sprite that they used for an example, and we changed the background because we really like the background. And yeah, we didn't change. Again, we didn't change much. The HTML here is just like for more customization stuff. We're gonna change more for the arrows. CSS. This is where you kind of upload um, the. Where you can change the sprite right here. You can make this like anybody else you want. You can change the background to whatever you want. And the JavaScript, I think, is more like so you can actually control Doom guy, move him around or whatnot. Um, but yeah, we didn't unfortunately get to finish this. The plan was to have like many other groups, have a more interactive map, have NPCs around, and kind of wanted to like have more characters from the game Doom around the map, so that he can interact with them and just have like a more fun experience. But fortunately, again, we weren't able to get there. So I don't know. Hopefully, I can finish this up because I think this is actually very fun. Like seeing, um, I like working on something and then seeing it like update right in front of me. It's very interesting in my opinion. But yeah,
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Kevin. That's really awesome. So I kind of cheated and sneak peeked. I was in your channel and I clicked on that code pen earlier and I was like, oh, this looks amazing. Um, because so this is the code pen everyone started with, but I fiddled with it myself and had lots of trouble. So the fact that you were even able to kind of get that 3D-ish representation, that's pretty awesome. That's actually a bit more than the other teams did. Um, in terms of they kept it on that flat 2D plane. Um, there's something I think I want this team to keep in mind. So I think your team is kind of constantly stressed about how far you're progressing related to the other teams. I want us to stop thinking that way and think of if I were just this team of 3 people, how far have I came since I first joined the Seneca Foundation? That's something to really think about, right? Throw all the other teams and all the other work out the window. Where were you 3 months ago in terms of writing code? And where are you now? That's a pretty seismic shift, right?
Mhm.
So keep that in the back of your minds. I don't want you to always be stressing about what everyone else is doing and getting over the finish line. Think about the progression you're making.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, great job there. I'm glad you got over the rest controllers. Like you said, that's a challenge that all the other teams were having. You got there too, and that sprite thing was pretty spectacular. The I didn't think it would be possible. I wouldn't have even conceptualized putting a 3D sprite inside that guy's little demo. I might even share that with him on social media just because like it shows kind of how far he can take his little sample code. So with that in mind, Kevin, why don't you spend a minute or two kind of talking about your experiences, and then toss it over to Armani, and then Mr. Gaddafi.
Right. Um, so I would say that my experience so far, it's been very up and down. It's very challenging to all of a sudden just pick up coding and then it's like just to have a bunch of stuff thrown at you and just try to like put it together. It's literally like learning a new language. It's very challenging. So at the beginning, I would say it's very difficult. Like it's not something that a lot of people can put their mind to and just think, okay, I'm gonna do this. You have to have a lot of determination, and I think um, the- just again the beginning was very difficult. As it went on, it got a lot easier. You know, having tutors and having mentors like help me out and even like mentally keep me in the game, like that helped a lot. So shout out to all those people. And then like just to like wrap it up, uh, we did struggle a lot in the end, but I still think that what we learned was very valuable because it's not easy again to just learn code within like a month. Within a couple months, it's very difficult. So again, like how you said that, like if I can look back in like 3 months, like how I started off, it's I would like laugh at like the code I did back then and like compared to the code I did now. So it's like I think I came a long way.
Awesome, great to hear. Mr. Armani, talk to me a little bit about your experiences.
And well, it's same with Kevin. It's like the first time when we were starting everything, it was quite tough. But learning everything, I don't know if you recall, but we had a meeting with Aaron, and I was like asking, was it normal to feel this tired after learning all this stuff? Because it really is a lot. But seeing that how long it's been, it is rewarding to see how well we are doing. But I feel like the main problems too is that we do compare ourselves a lot to others. But at the end, I feel like we've made quite a far we made it far through this journey together. But yeah.
All right, Mr. Gaddafi.
My fault. My experience with Seneca, it's been ups and downs, but like that's like every event or situation you just get put in. Like it's been stressful, but it's also been good. Like I've met some people who can help me, who knows how to do it, and who knows how to like who works well with others. Me and my team, we both went through a lot together, like trying to figure out this project, trying to get it to work. And communication was one of the issues that we had. But like out of everything, I really feel like we did what we had to do. So I enjoyed like learning and having like group work, and also like different teams. Like we're able to come help us. Like Michaela came to help us when we were having trouble. So we did have outside help than just each other. So I appreciate everybody who came and talked to me, who I'm working with, like my tutor and like career coach. I appreciate all of them. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely, I do like one of the benefits of Seneca is that support system we try to provide from a technical standpoint. I know I'm not always in there with you guys because I have the other two classes, but we do try to bring in the tutors, and Michaela was more than willing to reach across the aisle. I thought that was nice as well. But even with that all support, it's still hard work, right? It's still a struggle. But again, I would say always just compare the progress you're making. Go back and look at where you were and where you are now, and that's a pretty seismic leap. So great job, Team Floor, Team Doom. Love that name. Y'all did some amazing work and did some cool challenges with that thing that I didn't even think was possible. So really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Team 3. Who do we have presenting for Team 3?
That's me. Let me.
All right, Mr. Chance. Let's give it a shot.
Right. I'm gonna start out by showing some of the. You can see this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wanted to start by showing some of the front end code first, and then I'll show. I want to show the code, and then I'll show the app or our game. So let's see. Let's start with the sprite. This is how we animated all the mainly the main character and then any other NPC that moves. Really, this is how we created the walking animation and then just the standing animation. Really, yeah, this is the code we used. Let's see. All this is, well, this right here. This is for the code for the scene transition in between different loading screens going into different areas. With the key press, this is how we put in the controls for the game. And then the game object, this is basically for all the objects in the game, and even including the players, or the playable characters, the persons even, because persons takes variables from a game object and uses it, applies those same variables to the player. And then the CSS is how we styled the whole world, designed the text bubbles and just the overall environment, the game altogether. And here's our controllers. Let's see. Let me show the game. Here's our start screen. Click to start. It loads you in to a little tavern, Beastman Tavern. That's what we called it. It's a little intro cutscene. Basically, the storyline is that there's a bounty on the player's head, and he was taken by these mobsters. And right now, we're waiting for the boss to come get us. And we just kind of we have the pumpkin on our head. That's the mask. The character is waiting for the boss to come get them. Let me see. It's the mercenary right here. Basically, we can interact with the NPCs. They all different. They have their own little issues, but yeah, everything's interactable.
Who's the writer on this? Who came up with this dialogue?
I think you did it. Now hold on. Let me. There's music in the background.
You're muted.
Ulysses said he had some fun with the dialogue, not gonna lie. Chance, you're on mute, just in case. There you go.
Okay. I was saying we added music, if you all can hear this. We added music just in the background as you play. And then there's also a noise for every time you bump into something. Similar to Pokemon. See here, you can't enter the next room because the boss hasn't gotten me yet. So the mercenary stopped me. Uh, oh, I want to show this neat little glitch that we had right here. It stops you every time. Yeah. And after this, right here, same mercenaries. They're warning me not to go in here, but I'm ignorant. I'm gonna do it anyway. Oh, takes me to this.
Oh.
Oh, I forgot to show the inventory. Let me show this real quick. This is our inventory. Since he doesn't have anything equipped right now besides the helmet, this is it. This is all he has on right now. But you see it. The item slightly like hovers when you hover the mouse over it. Some neat we added. Some small. And then the game restarts when you. Well, where we were at after I press back, the game will restart. But let me show you this one part. Let me see. Should be right here. Here we go. And then, yeah, 7-day free trial. It's the end of our the demo. Well, that's the end of the prelude for right now. Eventually we're gonna add other worlds, different levels, a combat system. Eventually, we're gonna progress, but that's just the intro, the prelude, basically.
Absolutely. So this is great work. So one of the things I want to highlight about this team, talk to everyone about how many times I joined calls and helped you out over the past 3 weeks.
He say almost all of them. Like he was a teammate at certain points, certain weeks. It was.
Yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah, he's dependent on Warren.
You're full of crap, Chance. I didn't join any calls. That's why I wanted to make clear with this team. So for 3 weeks, we gave them the final 3 weeks ago. I haven't joined a single call with them, and that impresses the hell out of me. They have worked almost exclusively in a vacuum as a team. Because I'm always curious how much I should be involved in pushing these projects forward and different teams working different ways. And I got to hand it to this team. I had almost zero involvement on my end. And when I see what you produced, that's pretty spectacular. That's a lot of work for 3 weeks. Like a lot of work for 3 weeks, especially on your own. How much help did you get from tutors and others?
Me personally, I got some help from my tutor, but it was really my teammates going to them and finding out that if we're all struggling, it makes me feel a little bit better that we can work through it together instead of just sitting in silence or trying to figure it out on our own. It's more motivating to struggle together, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
More motivating to push harder.
Absolutely. Being in the thick of it together, I think, is an important part of a strong team. And then your team changed slightly. We had Jose move over to help out, which is something that happens in the real world. You move managers, you shuffle around sometimes. It sounds like you were able to help Jose incorporate with your team and help out a little bit as well. That's also a sign of a strong team, being able to bring on new members. Spend a couple minutes talking to me about your experiences and how you've grown, obstacles you may have overcome, obstacles maybe you didn't overcome.
Well, yeah, similar to other people, just coming in, I was confused. First couple of weeks, obviously, very confused, very lost. I felt lost, and then feeling lost made me feel like demotivated, or is that a word? I'm motivated. Because me personally, I get frustrated when I'm confused and lost, and it's just not a good feeling. So this program, it helped me problem solve in that sense of how to deal with failure and struggle, mainly struggle. So that was a positive. That was a negative turned into a positive. But I'd say
It's that's good to hear. You know, that is part of the design of the program. These last 3 weeks have definitely been a struggle, and as Dr. Shuck mentions, that's profound, right?
right. I was gonna say that coming in from the beginning, I can tell I progressed like a lot since then, though. So the struggle helped, obviously.
That's good to hear. And you know, just so everyone knows, like all the tutors, mentors, Seneca leadership, feel free to come on and off mute. I don't have to be the only one driving this conversation. This is kind of more of a back and forth between all of us. So feel free to interject as you feel, and I'll continue to cull the chat as well. So let's talk to Mr. Jose. Talk to us about your experiences and challenges. You came to us with a fair amount of experience in programming to start, right? Mr. Jose, you there with us? If you're talking, you're on mute. All right, we'll come back to Mr. Jose. Caden, tell us a little bit about your experience and how you felt about the Seneca Foundation.
It's a good question. I mean, I feel like I don't want to say like the Seneca Foundation. Well, yeah, the Seneca Foundation helped prepare me for like the actual real world. Like I've been in different programs where they do career development, professional development, and whatnot. But actual, throw you out there, do this, do that. I guess that was kind of a new thing for me. It's kind of just, it's really all about time management. I feel like that's just the bottom line. If you're able to manage your time, you're pretty much doing anything. It doesn't really matter. And that's probably the biggest thing that the Seneca Foundation has taught me. Even outside of work, putting a time limit on personal goals. When do I want to do this by? When do I want to do that by? That's something that has helped out a lot in these past couple of months.
So what I'm hearing is Seneca taught you to limit that video game time. That's what I'm hearing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, it is an important skill to have. It's definitely something Aaron and Dr. Shuck have brought up a lot. Is that time management piece, especially when you're coming straight out of school and hitting that real world, becoming an adult. That's the biggest bang for your buck, is learning those time management skills, because there's no mom and dad there anymore, right? To tell you, stop doing this, go do that. Like you're doing that all on your own now, and that's a big step. So I'm glad to hear, Caden, that you're able to work through that and learn from that and do some growth there. That's good news. Mr. Jose, you're back with us. So as I said earlier, I know you had some experience coming into the program, and we swapped your team so you could help out Ulysses and kind of grow their project some. Tell me about your experiences and how Seneca has worked out for you.
So first of all, I do want to mention that the time management aspect of the program or of things is something that I really needed, because I'm doing work, or I'm also going to university to DePaul, and that meant a lot more challenges because I had to time manage everything, including classes, homework, etc. And also this Seneca Foundation stuff. So that was very important to learn to manage, and my mentors helped me with that. So that's something I'm grateful for the Seneca Foundation for. And also, in general, just on the program, I found it very interesting. I had some experience, as you said, but there were some things like Docker and things like Spring and Java, which really taught me a lot of stuff. So that was something that the Seneca Foundation really helped in. And also, yes, I did have some challenges, especially when I got transferred to a different team. But I think it just ended up working in the end. And I don't know, I think it's just been cool, just working for different teams.
Awesome. And there's some benefits to switching, even career wise, like you get kind of more experience switching code bases, learning different technologies from different types of people. I definitely, any engineer on this call will tell you it's benefited us immensely to get some of those different experiences. Docker's a cool as hell technology too, and that's something we'll probably grow out a little bit more over the next few weeks. So we've containerized things. The next step is kind of using that to do some DevOps, and automatically you can do it where when you check in code, it automatically deploys that container out to the server up in AWS, and your app just updates every time you deploy code. It's really cool. So that's where we're gonna head next with some of that. Mr. Ulysses, tell me about your project and how you were able to get so much done on your own, like without kind of calling me in.
Well, it was a headache, but I managed. I mean, yeah, like when you said like, this final, no help, I'm like, okay, I got this. And basically my main friend was like my teammates, and also like Google. They had to do a lot of research, man. I like never programmed the game, so I had to like look up a lot of tutorials and all that, but just look into different ways of how people would program sprites, and then read up on how a sprite works too, because like the animation of a sprite is like weird, I would say, because it's like just basically just pictures. But then you're basically just running each picture at a certain way, so it look like it's like walking or moving. So concepts like that, I had to like look up and really pay attention to how they work. And I mean, as you saw, I managed to get a lot done with my team, and we managed to make some type of game. So yeah, it was a struggle.
The struggle is real. That's what I'm hearing. And so it's funny you mentioned the Googling. One of my first best engineering managers, I'd ask him a question. He'd say, go Google it. And I'd be like, I did Google it. He'd be like, go Google harder. That became like our catchphrase, Google harder. That's an important part of the skill. And it is one, some of the feedback we got from the last cohort is I didn't teach them to Google enough. And I think I brought that up on the call before. So it's part of the job. It's part of the skill set. I'm glad you were able to get there. I think you demonstrate why Googling harder is an important skill to learn.
Yeah, I had like professors tell me that too, like just use Stack Overflow, and I'm like, I guess, but I'm asking you, but like just Google it. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, your professor's not wrong. Now someday you'll have a gold badge on Stack Overflow, like this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. Just gonna throw that out there. All right. So yeah, very impressed by the work product that your team was able to deliver. Miles beyond my expectations, and especially the fact that you did it all on your own. Really, really, really impressed the hell out of me. All four of you are going to be amazing engineers if that's where you choose to go. I have no doubt. Just based on where you were and where you ended up, and how self-driven and motivated you were in accomplishing this task. And as Chance said, it was tough. I think all of you will attest, all 16 or 15 of you. This has been a rough 3 weeks, right? We were working hard, but you got there. So great job. All right, we're gonna move on to Team 1. And I believe Mr. Christian, are you presenting?
Yes, I am.
All right, what do you got for us?
Okay, so I'm just gonna start off with okay. Am I sharing? Okay, so I'm just gonna start off with what we have like in our browser, and then I'm gonna head over to the code. And so what we just basically have a top-down map, with different maps and different sprites. We wanted to add in a lot more dialogue with like different sprites and things, but we didn't have a lot of time since we were kind of like in a crunch on a time crunch on like what we could and couldn't do. So we were just like doing tiles and trying to make sure that you couldn't really like break anything when you were in the game itself. We were able to make a lot of different new maps with some sprites in here. As you can see, we had a Charizard here. We wanted to also change this sand sprite to be just a different like kind of sprite, but we didn't have the time for it. And yeah, so we've just honestly, this game is just like a game with a bunch of different like maps in it with like no real dialogue, I guess, because I'm pretty sure none of these sprites option for them. Yeah. I think we have a command to make it so you could press, I think it was space to get a dialogue box, but we don't have any like sprites for any of them right now. And so these are the 3 maps that we have, I guess, like ready to be shown in. This takes a while because it has 3 different sprites loading in. We were supposed to be doing a Pokemon theme as well, which is why this was supposed to be a Pokemon map. But I think we've kind of just like diverted into like just doing whatever, just to like get as many things like on it as possible. Honestly, like what we have like showing right now is kind of like the bare bones of like the game. We have a lot of like sprites. Some can move. This is Warren's sprite over here. I don't know when he put that in there, but
Just to be clear, that's Goran. That's my evil twin.
that's Goran.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
he may or may not talk. I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah, he does. So we press space, and then he goes, haha, bet you didn't expect it. Okay. I think his sprite picture was also supposed to be there, because I saw it in the code.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then you press space again, and it leaves. And these are the only maps that we have, I guess, like, put into the code right now, because everything else is either not implemented yet, which I will show in a sec, or not like fully like done with tiles and stuff. And so this is mainly what I'm just gonna be showing is like just the JavaScript, because that's what we were like mainly doing here. And so for the town map, let me go reload this. And so for the town map, we had 3 different sections as to how we like made it switch to different sprites or different maps, I guess. We basically just called the variable doors and then just had it so that when we hit a certain part of the map there, it would take us to a different section or a different sprite here. And so this, I think that one is here to the house map here, which just takes us here. And it's basically the same, the command to go back is also basically the same down there. And so that's all we were like really able to do in like the time span, because we were also trying to make sure that all these tiles didn't break. And there were like 50 million tiles that we had to do because we decided to get huge maps. And so there were a lot of different tiles that we had to do. And we also had an extra map that we wanted to put in. I think it's this one, yes.
So
And oh, sorry, Warren, were you gonna say something?
why don't you go ahead and show the switch debug on one of the maps so they can see what you're talking about in terms of the paths and things?
I will show it right now, actually. There are some errors, but that's only because we didn't put in the new ID for the sprite, and so it's just saying that this is an old one. I'm going to be putting in town app debug. This is basically like the code that you don't really see for like the hitboxes for sands and like the different tiles where he can and can't go to. It's really tedious work, honestly. I thought that I would be the type of person to like this tedious work, and 5 minutes into doing this, I realized I wasn't. This is probably not the worst, but it's up there when it comes to like doing all of this. I think Warren did a good job with like doing the tiles here, but like on all the other maps, here, let me turn this off.
So I think some of you have heard my video game development lecture and how it's like the most tedious, boring, lowest level of programming. And I think that's what this team kind of went through as part of their exercise. Game development is so hard and tedious. It's just like, if then do this, if then do this.
It's terrible. And if I have the console up, this is going to take like an extra 20 seconds to load in because all of this is still up. then it takes even longer because the NPCs are running. So this is gonna take a minute. Yeah, and so it goes really slow. But then I can show you the switch debug right now for waterfall. It's being slow again.
Yeah, misspelled switch there.
Okay. And I misspelled it again. It's great. And hopefully it loads, but it might.
You're still on house 2 map. I think you want to be a waterfall.
Oh my god. This is the worst. Thank you. Okay. And so it basically just shows all the tiles here. This was a really annoying map to like try to do, just because I wanted it to look as realistic as possible, but I also needed to make sure that you couldn't go outside the map. I was really interested in I think it was the last team. They had something, they had like a command where like it stopped you from going outside, which I thought was really cool and really interesting way to stop people from breaking the game. But yeah, I mean, this is basically it for like most of the maps. It's just all of this and then code to go from code that says if you hit this block in the tiles here, so I think that's somewhere around here, then you transport back to the town map. And it's basically just that code like going everywhere there.
Michaela pointed out so much collision detection. Collision detection is where you detect if something collides with something else, and is another one of the very tedious things about game development.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying. But honestly, after you finish all like the tiles and then like you're actually able to like do things in there, I that's like when I really started enjoying it. Like that's when I actually started getting excited again. But then like I realized that we had to like do an extra like map and put in all the sprites because we only had like an hour left to like do all of this.
Yep.
So yeah, that was great.
Yep. And so, you know, I think all three teams that did game development encountered something that you encounter in the real world of game development, which is crunch time. And we kind of experience the same thing in other aspects of development, enterprise development, commercial development. You know, when you have a fixed release deadline, stuff gets hard, right? I mean, that's the essence of it. When the timeline is fixed, the closer you get to it, the scarier and more stressful it gets. Some of you might go into the career of project management. We talk about this project management triangle where something's got to give: people, scope, or time. You either bump the timeline, you get more people, or you decrease the scope. Now, hopefully, if we're planning correctly, we decrease scope in a manner that is logical and organized so we get the best value of the application out front. But if we don't do that, we accidentally decrease scope by not getting features out or of the quality, aka Cyberpunk 2077. That's a game that came out last year that was just awful, buggy as heck, and made news because they made their developers work 24, 48 hours in a row straight to not get where they needed to be at the end. And so that's what we want to try to avoid through the time management, through the planning of the scope. You will find, maybe not with this exercise, but through future exercises, that the better you plan and organize into those sprints, the less stressful you'll be in terms of getting to an actual release date. So something to keep in mind as we move forward in the future. So Christian, I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Talk to me about your experiences with Seneca, what you've learned so far, and then we'll toss it to Edgardo, then Terrence, and then Michaela.
Like you mean like from the beginning?
Yeah,
Like,
all of term one.
Honestly, I knew coming into Seneca that it was going to be really like difficult because I had done some I'd used some game engines, like trying to figure them out on my own. And that was super tedious and like super difficult to even like try to learn all by yourself. So I knew that doing Seneca was going to be really hard, and it was hard, but not in the aspect of like I couldn't understand anything, but like in just making sure that I understood everything and I made sure to apply it all, because that was super tiring. Like making sure you understood everything is super tiring, but like making sure that like you apply it to like the code that you're using is like even harder, because sometimes you forget about it, and then sometimes you gotta like remind yourself about it, and then you gotta make sure that you keep on like with the same like framework, like you keep with the same framework of like code that you need to like understand, I guess, and like those different like rules that you should abide by. um i I had a lot of trouble, I guess, with time management. What Caden said really resonated with me when he was talking about like how this program was like a lot of time management, because I am going to school, and I am also trying to like make sure that I'm doing all my homework for school and making sure that I get good grades in that school. I'm also trying to make sure that I also work as much as I can on the code to like make sure I don't forget anything that we're like learning for the day. And so it's really hard to like to manage all that, because sometimes I used to not keep track of like all my hours, so it used to be really hard to like tell how long I should work on this homework until I should go back to doing Seneca work. And so being able to like say, okay, I'm stopping here and then I'm working on Seneca from here to here, then I'm stopping here and then I'm working from this to here was really like helpful, and really helped a lot with my time management, which I thought was great.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you brought up something important about time and keeping track of the hours. You know, one thing I tell people, my lesson on time management, time is the only currency that is finite, right? When you are born, you are allocated a certain amount of hours on this planet. When you spend those hours, they never come back. You don't get more hours. It's the one single currency that if you put effort into it, that effort is spent and gone. And so, because it's the rarest currency, it's the one you want to spend the most wisely, um, and keep the best track of. That's my 2 cents on time. And Aaron Jury, hooray for the time audit exercise before the workshop. It sounds like we all found that very helpful.
Yeah, I definitely found it super helpful. Just because I know for a fact that I used one of the tactics that she told us to use, and I thought it was really working.
Nice. I'm very glad to hear that. Mr. Edgardo, so you've had a lot of unique experiences with Seneca and a lot going on with college and things. Talk to me about your experiences with Seneca and trying to juggle some of your responsibilities.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to say first off that I like thank Seneca for all of their help. It's not easy the things that I am handling, but nonetheless, they're very patient with me and very understanding. I I try to like wake up really early and get things done that are either late or just that I have to do. Um, that's I mean just not I'm not giving up. There's a lot of things that I have going on, and it's really good to try and set a schedule for yourself and stuff like that, and be in contact with those around you so that they can help you.
Absolutely. Well said, Edgardo. And you know, the point of Seneca is for all of you to succeed. Now we have to balance that with we need all of you to become programmers and really learn and grow. But at the end of the day, we want you to succeed, and that means providing a support system, and that means you're all going to learn and grow at different areas of expertise and strengths and weaknesses. And so our goal here is to kind of support you become the best version of yourself, and not in comparison to anybody else on the team. Again, just looking at where you were versus where you are and how much you've grown. And Edgardo, I think you've done a good job of growing and staying the course. Mr. Terrence, talk to me a little bit about your experiences with Seneca.
Um, to start off with the term, I think the best way to describe it is when I was talking with Jahari, and just to say that it was both a mixture of a lot of games, but there was a lot of like time requirement and a lot of just generally trying to like get things sorted around. With my experience with Seneca, it was kind of like I was really trying to focus on time because since I did full time college along with the program, it was like basically having two things that was major and trying to see which one you can like work on each and every single day. But later on into it, it was just like luckily I don't have to worry about the college anymore. Like it got a lot less. So it gave me more time to actually like experience and like thoroughly go through like how much I need to learn when it comes to the time requirements and how much in general with coding. Because honestly, when I came in, I thought, okay, this will be something I'll be able to do very easily. I like had experience in this, but then I came in, it was scratch. I was like, oh, that's not gonna work out well. And honestly, the experience in Seneca has taught me more in probably this like past couple of 3 months in comparison to like my past 2 to 3 years, regardless of how many programs I might have been in or like how much school knowledge that I've gotten. Because it's just a lot more hands on, a lot more like organized pressure. Like it's actually an environment that cultivates you to actually try to work on things and actually improve instead of it just being like a light pat and just be like, okay, you did a good job. Um, as far as like the project concerned, mine was like kind of trying to figure out how to work with the program and like actually get through it because sometimes I'm not gonna lie, things didn't really work out well. Sometimes I couldn't even push things through, and it was just a lot of like dependency and like relying on help from multiple people inside the group, and that's pretty much it. That's it.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Terrence. And one thing I've learned about your group, I think your group was a little bit more like a family than others. Um, you support each other personally as well as professionally. Sometimes you get a little uppity at each other when one of you is contributing more than the others, and there's some discussions there. But one thing I like about your team is you generally have each other's backs and support each other, not just professionally but personally. And to me, that's a sign of a strong team is that family aspect of coming together. Um, and so, and then with you, I know going to college full time, you've moved on to your own kind of in a dorm room, right? So you're out there in the world, uh, doing your own thing and building this new version of Terrence ready to take on the world, and that's exciting. And you're doing all that while still staying with Seneca and maintaining the course of instruction here, and that's a lot of work. And so, as Dr. J mentioned here in the comments, Terrence, you are rocking it out. I concur with Dr. J's comment. Let's move on to Michaela. Michaela, talk to me about Seneca, your experiences, challenges you overcame, challenges you're still having.
Um, I really love Seneca. I don't think I knew what I was getting myself into when I joined. Like I was definitely excited and coding and programming has always been something that I've been interested in, but I never really got the opportunity to like actually, look into it. So I was super excited. I love my team. I mean, we have disagreements and stuff, but I was really surprised. I feel like we got along really well, like right from the get go. Like, I told Christian because I know Christian from high school. And I was like, I'm so nervous that we're gonna meet the other teammates and we're just gonna sit there like quiet with our hands folded and be like, so the weather, huh? Like, but we all got along really well, and uh, the work, the point of it like being hands on and stuff is really helpful for me because with this kind of stuff, like having a lesson just doesn't like stick the same way that doing things like over and over and like actually having to figure it out yourself. Uh, that's that's really what helps me, and so I think this program's like kind of perfect. um, and It's definitely been really hard. This game that we're making has the crunch. The crunch was real. I'm very much what I really enjoy is like making things look cute and like, oh, this map is so cute and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then Warren's like, yeah, but like you have to actually code it, and I'm like, I know, it'll be fine. And then when I get to the coding part, of course it takes forever and you always get like a billion bugs. So we definitely had a bit of a squeeze, and I probably need to work on like making it functional before I make it look pretty. But um, yeah, I'm really grateful to be in this program. I really have enjoyed my time here. I mean, it's definitely been stressful, but just like with all the new stuff that's getting thrown at us, but I really have come a long way. When you guys mentioned that earlier, like, yeah, but think about what you did from, day one to right now. I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, no, you're lying. 3 months? Are you kidding me? um, so I think that's really cool, and I'm really proud of my teammates. I'm really proud of everybody else here. Like, you guys had some really cool games. I know we have one more team left to go, but yeah, that's it.
And so, one thing I will say about Michaela, having done this a long time, I can always identify future architects in the making. And one of the ways I identify future architects in the making is they really like spinning up the Legos and building the pieces. But when it comes to putting the pieces together and that tedious work at the end, it drives them nuts. They like the esoteric building up the foundations, but the actual throwing the spackle and paint and putting the thing together kind of drives them crazy. That's an architect's brain, and so I think you'll have some strengths there, Michaela, once you get pushed through that monotonous part. The other thing I would highlight about Michaela, so you've done a lot with helping the other teams. Talk to me a little bit about what's the reason behind that? What makes you kind of want to reach across the aisle, jump in other teams' calls, coach them? Does it motivate you? Like, what's the impetus behind that?
Well, I mean, it definitely motivates me because it's always nice to see things from other people's points of view. And there have definitely been a lot of times where I'm stuck on something that I'm working on. And so I start working with another group, and from what they're doing and from like a bug that we fixed or whatever on their side, I'm like, I wonder if like, I could, apply some of this to mine or like ideas and stuff. But I don't know. I felt like at the beginning, like when we first started Seneca, we were a bit segregated. Like everybody had their own teams, and we didn't really talk to each other that much. And of course, it's hard because we're virtual. So we're virtual most of the time. So a lot of us don't really get to see each other. And I don't know. I just like having a sense of community, I guess. And so I reached out to Ulysses and Kevin T4 and everything. So I've been working with them a lot, and I also I want to see everybody succeed together, and so I'm always really willing to like help if I can, or at least try my best. And I think it can also be really motivating to like just be able to like see new faces, hear new things, and it's really nice when you see people succeed. And I think that's what drives me the most.
Absolutely, and I think it's appreciated on the other side when Michaela jumps in and helps out the other teams, right? And then Jim brought up a good point about, the crunch. The crunch is real, right? And Jim says, hearing about all of you reminds me how difficult my first programming assignment was. I worked like hell, but never got it to work. But I did not let it stop me. So we've all been in that position before. It's intense, and we're not always as successful as we want to be, but the progress itself is success, and the growth there. All right. So, great job, Team One. There's a couple things about your project. Again, doing the same video game thing. There's some frameworks and things that were built into your video game that are a lot more intense. That switch debug and stuff, that's hard work there. But also, you met the core crux of the assignment, which was to try to get data from the server and display it in your client. So all of those sprites that you see, those are AJAX calls. They actually store those sprites up in the database, and they pull them down and inject them into the game. All that data is stored on the server, so it doesn't have to persist in memory. Because what I explained to some of the other teams is if you keep loading stuff into the DOM, eventually the DOM just explodes. It's not that great in terms of memory management, and so shuttling data back and forth and knowing kind of what pieces to load at a time is really important when it comes to that game development. And so you hit that piece of the puzzle on the head. If we had a couple more weeks, you could add more things to the game and continue to grow it. But the crux of the assignment, I think you guys met the most in terms of client to server architecture and making those AJAX calls to get data from the database, render it back out in the client. So great job there. Very, very impressed. And now we will move on to Team 2. So Team 2, and I like Team 2 because they did this. They went in a different direction. They're the first team that said, we're not gamers. We're going to do something else. And I respect the heck out of them for that because I'll be honest, a lot of teams come in and build games. And Team 2, they went somewhere else. So Josh, you're presenting for Team 2. Are you ready to do some presenting?
Yeah, let me just get everything set up.
All right, take it away.
Wait. Hold on, I need to share my screen real quick.
So Josh, you're a little quiet. I think we were going to have Sedae. Sedae will speak for us, and Josh will drive the technical spot.
Alright. Alright.
So yeah, we made a store, and each of the team members is selling something different. And before this demonstration, my teammate Josh went and put in our sorry, that's my dog. Put in the items for all of us because there was just some problems with the local host, but Josh wasn't having any problems with it, so he went and put it in for us. So we have one T-shirt by Kiriana, a drawing by Phoenix, a sticker by Josh, and a bracelet by me. Okay. And so this is like the homepage, and in the future we'll work on like making the images. One sec, it's like my dog's crying because my mom just came. Okay. And if you click on one of the categories, it'll like take you to a page where we'll have like the different products. One sec. It'll have the different products. and can you go back to the t-shirts? But yeah, it works for everyone. It's like a button, it goes to a different page with the products and will show the price and the name. And here you can see like once you click that individual item, it'll have the information. So it's like the name of the product and who it's made by, the price, color, weight, and it depends on each of us, like what's included in there. And then there's this PayPal, pay later, and debit or credit card that we'll be using for checkout, and it like actually works. Horn helped us with that. And if you scroll up, the first thing we worked on was like just kind of the design of the page. So there's like the header with a logo. And can you scroll up more? Oh yeah, and there's the sign in, the cart, and like search, which we will be adding functions to. And if you can you scroll down? And here's like different information that we will be including links to. Right now, the contact is just Josh, contact information, and the follow us is just like random. But eventually we will be working on that and adding like an information and like an account that the person can like email through. And that's what we worked on. Also, if you see the images, we worked on that this week, which like having the ability to upload an image through the create form, and then the image saves. You want to show the create form? I don't know. It saves. Yeah, if you see, there's like the choose file option. And once like the person enters that information, which will be us because this is just the administrative form, it'll save as like the images ID. It'll be like the name of the file .png. So that's what we were working on, and it'll save to like a folder. And then once you're like in the website, it'll get the items ID and then .png, and that's how we're having each item have its own photo and like how to get it to show up. And yeah, that's about it. If there's anything else to show.
All right. And so, for one, great use of the assignment. So this is all about client-server architecture. It's not a video game. We're not loading sprite sheets from the database, but each of these objects are coming from the database, sometimes using Ajax. The uploading of files, that was a very specific challenge, very common in web development, that this team got over by themselves with very little involvement. Serai and Josh and the team Googled harder and found the solution to how to upload images. And then another cool thing, which no team has done in the Seneca Foundation so far, we learned how to use REST APIs, and we used our own REST APIs for Postman. We're doing the same thing with PayPal. And so this is the first team to ever accomplish a third-party integration into their application to sell real-world merchandise. And so as a result of that, store.senecafoundation.com, we tipped up next week, and we'll be able to buy bracelets, stickers, t-shirts, and drawings. And hopefully Seneca Foundation merchandise in the future as well. Yeah, as Aaron said, how about some Seneca swag? I'm all about it. And we got some good designers on this call that are gonna help us out with some of that. So so great job. This is the first final that's gonna become an actual product that supports the foundation. And that's super impressive. And of course all of the profits from your merchandise is gonna go straight to you. We're not gonna keep any of that, but we'll be able to actually sell items, and that's pretty powerful to build something that you can actually use to sell your own merchandise from the ground up. So Serai, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about your experiences with Seneca, how you've grown over the past few months, challenges you've overcome, and challenges you're still working on.
Wait, can you put it in the chat? I forgot though.
Oh.
How many? So it's like.
Let's see. Just just talk about how Seneca Foundation is going.
Yeah, I really like Seneca. Yeah, I just like coding. I remember like I talked about this in my LinkedIn, but initially I wanted to do electronics at my high school, but not enough people signed up for it. So I took a programming class, and initially I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. And I tried to change to an engineering class, but it didn't let me. But then once I started, like I really liked the class. Um, it was like Python, and I remember we started with like Alice World, which is kind of like this video game setup, but like for characters. And then my senior year high school, I took another programming class, and that one I struggled in, and so like because of that, I wasn't sure if I should do computer science in college, but I was like, I'm still gonna try it, because I really like it. So I feel like Seneca in that way has like helped me with like my confidence in it and really give me some reassurance that I really do want to pursue this and I do think I can. And I also think like it's really helpful to have someone like Warren who can help you when you're lost, because I know sometimes I would search on Google, but it's like I still don't know what's wrong, like I still don't have a solution for it. So Warren like helps guide us through that. So that's a really like good part about it, because I know like when I was in high school, their philosophy was more like tell someone what the error is, but don't just like tell them too much about it. That was like my high school's philosophy. And also something struggled in Seneca is like my team's communication. It's still Warren. I know like Warren mentioned that the team needs to communicate with each other. And it also worries me because I want my teammates to be successful, and I would like them to tell me if they're having like problems with the code or understanding. And yeah, I would say that would be it. I really like the knowledge that Seneca has taught me.
Absolutely, and so I will say that so the first number one thing is your future is in software engineering. Whatever experiences in high school, your future is in software engineering. Let's be unequivocal about that. SEDIE is one of our best engineers out there, and
Thank you.
certain people have certain talents, and people like me who have been doing this a long time identify that pretty quickly. So unequivocally, I can reassure you with full confidence that you have a long future in this career field. Another thing I would say, so you mentioned being in electronics early on. I want you, this is my personal assignment to you, go get yourself one of these doodads. It's called a Raspberry Pi. They're about $30, and they're actually little. You got one? This is the future. Go ahead.
I thought about like getting one, but I wasn't really sure what it's about. I know like some people in my high school had one.
Yeah, Jeff mentioned it runs Python too. So these are embedded devices. They're little tiny computers that they can run animatronics. They could sit inside a refrigerator, control touch screens. This is the future of where the software industry is going. And it's worth, early on we talked about the hardware and having to do memory management, CPU cycles and stuff. This is one of those reasons for that. We've all been coding on these laptops that have super high-end processors and memory. These guys are kind of more resource limited and really require you to know the computer science very well. And I think you're one of the people that's more than capable of working within that field. And if you get good at it, embedded systems are in rocket systems and all sorts of cool stuff for NASA. So quite a big future in embedded systems. Mr. Josh, talk to me a little bit about how Seneca has affected you and what the past 3 months were like.
Yeah, so Seneca has had a huge impact in my life with coding because in high school I never got the chance to take a coding class or programming class, and Seneca, how do I say it, like paved the road pretty much. It taught me like all this cool stuff about coding, and I kind of do like sometimes I think back like, oh man, dude, I should have started this like a long time ago. I could have been way better at it now if I started like years ago. And with that, but it's taught me so much. Just, I want to add on like to what I had said earlier, how since the first day we barely like knew how to code and stuff, and like now it's a lot. But you know, a lot of knowledge.
Absolutely. And so I also know Josh is going to be a future engineer, but for a totally different reason. He was clean shaven when he started the course. All you engineers on the call know what I'm talking about. Growing that engineer beard. No, Josh has done great stuff and really has an aptitude for coding. And you pair well with your team. I think you and Sedai are a good combo. You know, and especially with one of you being kind of quiet and one of you being kind of the more vocal leader, you complement each other well, and both of you complement the team well. And obviously, you know, we talked about communication issues. That is going to be a challenge for your team, and it's going to be a challenge for a while. And I'm going to keep bringing it up as we work through those challenges and maybe do some exercises together. Because communication is so vital, and having a strong team, as Jim always says, software engineering is a team sport. And so being able to get on a call and discuss your problems, it's number one path to success. So keep working on that. And we will go over to Phoenix. Phoenix, talk to me a little bit about your experiences in Seneca, how things have been going, challenges you faced and overcome, and challenges you're still working on.
Can you all hear me? Well,
Yep.
okay. I'm bad at communication. I'm just gonna get that out of the way.
Yep. No worries. It's a chance to practice.
I feel like Seneca has been a pretty good opportunity to at least like dabble in software engineering and coding.
What have you found most challenging so far? Like, what was the hardest thing?
Communicating,
Yeah.
which has always been a biggest struggle of mine, and working with others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I will say, Phoenix, you're not the first engineer learning how to communicate. It's kind of a thing in our industry. So I wouldn't stress over that too much. You know, give it time. And there's different styles of communicating. You know, one thing I always tell people is like the loudest voice in the room is not the right one. It's okay to be quiet. It's not okay to not be able to communicate or get your point across. And you know, that might be email, chat, different ways of communicating. I know you're a great artist. That's a form of communication, right? So I think it'll kind of be more time to figure out what communication methods suit Phoenix best. I will say, so Phoenix, coming from a non-engineering background, has done a great job of writing code and learning to become an engineer. This is not an easy curriculum, but I have not yet found a single thing that Phoenix has failed at or not been able to do. So bear that in mind, Phoenix. Is you're successful here, and you've remained successful. And the communication challenges, you know, those are things we can work through. I think I told this team on a call yesterday. I was the quiet person starting out too. Now, obviously, you can see I'm not that person anymore, but I definitely was starting out, and it took a few good mentors, some books, and lots of work to get there. It's a skill like everything else, and you learn and you practice, and you'll get there. But don't stress yourself over it. Great job, Phoenix. I don't see Cariana on the call today. I don't believe she was able to make it. So I think that wraps it up. You know, Team 2, I like I said, I like that you went in a different direction with this assignment. I always I always like the cool different things that come out, because I don't give you any warning in the beginning, right? I tell you to make these 4 objects, and then you have to figure out what the heck to do with them, and that's always a fun surprise on what people come up with. I like the idea of the store. I like the idea of creative people contributing to the store. Those of us who have been engineering a long time know that the creative engineers, they go far. Some of my best friend, favorite engineers, they're like rock stars on the evenings. They go do gigs and they carry around their guitar. Josh, you know what I'm talking about. You know, and I know quite a few artists, and you know, that creativity, it brings a lot to the engineering table. Believe it or not, because when you start to look at that esoteric generic architecture level, that's all about the abstract thought, and that's where the creativity comes in. So we try to strengthen and build those muscles just as much as we do the technical engineering ones. And I like this store provides not just the 4 of you, but the opportunity for future Seneca interns to contribute. So think about that. You've built something that other interns are going to be able to come in and leverage, and you know, someone a couple years from now is going to be like, who said IE and why does she make such cool ass bracelets, you know? So you've put something out in the world, and to me that's the best part of engineering, is putting something out into the world that stays there for other people to leverage. And so I know it's been a rough 3 weeks, and I've been pushing you really, really hard, because it's a final and we want to replicate, you know, that real world production push to code. It's not easy. It's not easy for real, and we have to kind of train as we fight and simulate that here. I will say on the call, all of you have passed. You made it through the final. Nobody failed. You all get A's. Great job. We're going to take Monday off just to get some fresh air. So we'll take a paid 3-day weekend. Just put your 8 hours Monday, but don't come in, don't sign in. Go out to the park, get some fresh air, recover that lost energy over the last 3 weeks. I know we all need it. Again, I will reiterate, great job, everyone. And so that completes term 1 of the course. You've actually made it halfway through the technical aspects of what we're doing. It doesn't get any harder. That's the coolest part. When you get to end of term 1, like, you've done the hard stuff. It doesn't get any harder from here. We go back and repeat what we've done, but there's no harder stuff at this point, which is awesome. We're going to do something cool and new this year, a new program, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Shuck, who hopefully you've all had a chance to meet yet. If not, we'll give her a chance to introduce herself. But Dr. Shuck is going to take over for the next few weeks, and I want her to have a chance to talk about what we're going to be doing.
Thank you, Warren. And I'll just say that I continue to be impressed with all of the apprentices and the work that I've seen in the short period of time that I've been with Seneca. And it just, you know, I'm impressed by the tenacity that all of you have exhibited, and just really pushing through these real challenges that you've been faced with from the very beginning, and just figuring out ways to work it out and to have fun with it. So I commend you for that. So I have had a chance to speak with probably about half of you over the last week. And so for those I haven't spoken with yet, as Warren said, now comes the time where we're trying to position you to not just be strong technical employees, workers, but we want you to be just strong individuals who will become great employees, great business people, great engineers, whatever you decide to pursue. And, you know, that's really some of the benefits that employers are looking for. You know, of course, they want you to have the technical things, but there are a lot of that we call them soft skills that are equally valuable. And these are the things that we're going to be trying to develop over the next few weeks. So starting on Tuesday, you all will have opportunities to participate in workshops that will be geared around helping you explore different careers, helping you explore the college paths that you might be on, and just helping you learn more about the industry that you all are going to be embarking on. You guys have all shown that you are very strong leaders that are developing in this pipeline of engineers and computer software professionals, and so we just want to make sure that you're strong on all fronts. And so I want you guys to be thinking, like, as hard as you're working on the technical side, now you guys are going to be working on yourselves and learning about yourselves and learning how to be the best that you can be in every environment that you're in, whether it's a workplace, whether it's college, or wherever you are. And so this is going to be the focus for the next few weeks. So, it's kind of like, you're transitioning to a new set of expectations, a new, kind of a new manager in some ways. And that's part of helping you learn how to, transition from different workplaces. You're going to have to learn how to adapt to different expectations and things like that. So I'm not a tough cookie, but I like to make sure that you all are, the best that you can be. And I try to do that with firm love because I really believe in the potential of you all to just be stars in whatever you decide to pursue. And so I just want to help with that. So with that being said, one of the expectations is that you check your email. And so between now and Monday, you'll get an email from me that's going to detail a little bit more about what we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks. So make sure that you check that on Monday so that you'll be ready to go on Tuesday and know what's going to be expected so we can, hit the ground running. I've told a couple of you all that I'm used to teaching college students. And so it might feel kind of like school-y, academic-y, but I'm going to try to make it as fun, as interactive as possible for you all while you're learning a little bit more about, just other parts of life besides computer software engineering. Okay. So that's really all I had to say about that. Erin, did you want to add anything?
Did you see my text, Dr. J?
I did not. My phone is charging.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the FAFSA nag this weekend. If you've not completed your FAFSA, we need you to do that ASAP and send the confirmation email that you get to Dr. J so we know that you've completed it. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Shuck. And thank you, Erin. And so, as Dr. Shuck mentioned, the next 5 weeks are going to be your bridge into the professional world. Are we still calling it Seneca Bridge? Because I really like that name.
Yes, that's what it is. The Seneca Bridge. You guys are the first ones. So you're going to also help build it, Like, this is going to be something that you're going to be able to leave to the cohorts behind you. So we're all going to be working together. It's not just me knowing everything. You guys are going to help me with it.
So the Seneca Bridge to the professional world. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited to see how it helps all of you grow. I will still be there 2-3 days a week. We're still going to keep our technical skills sharp. So we're going to do kind of some Code War stuff and some more fun stuff, less deliverables, deadline pressure type stuff. More just write some code for the hell of it type stuff. But Dr. Johari is going to be, or Dr. Shuck is going to be taking the lead on your day-to-day and sitting with you and working for some of those tasks. And then, of course, we still have Term 2 on the horizon where we meet up with those real-world companies and go through it all again. So still a lot of exciting things ahead. But again, congratulations, everyone, for making it through Term 1. And for me personally, thank you. Thank you for giving your best. I know all of you put a lot of hard work into this, and you helped make me look good, but also you made yourselves look really good. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the work you did for Seneca and getting through that term one. I know it was really hard. And I hope you take some time this weekend to reflect, breathe, relax. Don't look at the code at all. I know you've been hard charging, but set it aside. Put the code down for the next 3 days. Go out and experience the real world. And we'll touch bases again Tuesday. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Have a
Thanks,
good week.
everybody.
See you
Have a
later.
good weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Well-deserved break.
Have a nice day.
Right.
Bye, all.